Hello, welcome to the Beyond the Questions podcast, because every great conversation starts with a question. We're having real conversations about life with life coaches, and we are anticipating another great episode. So get ready and let's get started. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Beyond the Questions. I am TQ. I'm here with my co-hosts, Ericka and Kellie, and get them to introduce themselves in just a little bit, but we are thankful that you're here. We like to go deep into questions and not necessarily give you all the answers to them all, because we don't have those, but we do like to dive deep and to really kind of figure out where we're headed and so forth. But before we get into questions and things like that, I'm going to give my co-host time to introduce themselves, and we'll ask Kellie to go first, because typically it's Ericka that ends up going first. So Kellie, if you don't mind telling everybody who you are, what you do,
Awesome.
and
Yes, my pleasure.
one more thing, and a fun human detail. That was an added thing that we're trying stuff new. So fun
Okay.
added detail. Okay.
All righty. Well, I am Kellie. I am the founder of Purposeful Pivot, and I help women that are maybe experiencing corporate burnout, or they've just found themselves successful and now they've hit their goals and they don't know what to do next. So I help them kind of reinvent themselves at this stage of life. So something about me, well, I can show you. I broke my finger.
No.
That's a
What?
human thing.
Oh my goodness.
What?
Yeah, okay. So I was at the gym and someone left a 70-pound dumbbell on the floor, and I was being a nice person and thought I'd try to put it back on the rack, and yeah, I dropped it.
Kellie.
No.
If that's not human, I don't know what is. So yes. So there you go.
So, okay. Is it like bad? You have to have that on for a long
No,
time, or?
no, it's not bad. I'll live. It just was hurting, but I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I mean,
right.
that
Okay.
sounds like it hurt.
Yeah, it'll teach
All
me to
right.
let that be able to wait.
Yeah, teach you to do something nice, pick
Yeah,
some things up for people.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
All right.
Ericka?
Yes, thank you, TQ. So I truly care about just creating the space and helping women through hard times, if that's in their relationships or just in things that they have gone through or are going through in their lives. I'm here for it. And we've talked about the fun thing. We've talked a little bit about, I think, some of my pets and puppies and dogs. You know, that puppy is now 6 months old, weighing in at 97.7 pounds
My God.
and still
All right.
growing. He's
There
a
you
big
go.
boy.
Yep. Awesome. Okay. What's the dog's name again? Enzo. Okay. I had forgotten. Okay. Enzo. Okay, very cool. And I'll introduce myself. As I said, I am TQ. I am owner and founder of TQ Coaching Solutions, and I really believe that everyone has a gift to give to the world. And so, but there are many times where we find ourselves stuck, unable to give that out because we're scared, or we have some self-doubt, or we just don't know how to make the move, to take that action. And so what I love to do is help people to break through that and really get those things going and, hopefully become unstoppable as opposed to being stuck. So that's I have going on. And so I can't wait to talk to you guys about what's going on today, because we are really dealing with motivation. Like, the big question that is behind this episode is, how do I keep going when the old reasons no longer work? And I just thought, man, that we find those times where we have motivation not really there. Okay. But before we really dive deep, I want to play a little game with our co-hosts. Okay. And this is a would you rather. Okay.
Boy.
And so, and I'm sad that Jason's not here, because he always has something fun and interesting to say, but he's on vacation. Enjoy yourself, my friend. We miss you. Okay. But we're going to play Would You Rather. And I'm just going to give a few. I've got plenty to choose from here, but I'm only going to choose maybe 2 or 3, depending on how much time we get. So here we go. Here's the first one. And these are motivation kind of oriented. Okay. This is not like, would you rather somebody see you picking your nose in public, or, passing it. It's nothing like that. That's what I would ask at like a high school event or something like that when I was doing student ministry. But this is a little more serious, but still fun.
We're ready. Give it to
So,
us.
so here we go. All right. Would you rather have a hype playlist that gets you like fired up every time, like thinking about what you're about to do? You're like, bam, okay, whatever that hype playlist is. Or would you rather complete silence that somehow puts you in the zone, like you're zen, ready to go? What would you choose? Hype playlist, silence to get in the zone.
Okay, I'm going to say hype playlist because first, I was already feeling the music when you were saying that. But then I could
Right.
also change, in that playlist, have that zone type of music in there. So I could have both.
Well,
I think you're trying to change it up on me here.
Yeah.
I think you're trying to bend the rules here a bit. So, okay. What do you have, Kelly?
Well, that's not fair because I was going to kind of bend the rules too. Because I was going to say it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm going to work out or I'm going to do something fun, I need a hype and like good playlist to get me going. But if I have to sit down and do serious work, I need silence because I have to concentrate. So I have to go
Okay,
with both as
coaches.
well. Sorry.
We don't want these limitations, okay?
This is not how you play the game, ladies. This
Clearly.
is not how you play the game. The game is supposed to make the tension. You got to choose the
I
other.
feel it.
Okay? I mean,
Ericka,
like,
we're
man.
failing on the first question. That's
I'll
not
take
good.
it.
All
I'll
right.
take it.
If I were going to choose, it'd probably be silence. As much as I would love to say hype, because that feels very fun, energetic. I'm a introspective individual. So yeah. So I would go silence. Here we go. Here's the next one. All right, if you guys ready. Hope you're ready for this one.
We'll see if we play by the rules.
It's a would you rather, one or the other. Okay, so here we go.
Gosh.
Would you rather have a ruthless accountability partner who calls you out every single time, or a ride or die hype person who believes in you no matter what? It's a very similar question, but you got to choose. Okay, instead of music or silence, it's kind of person. Okay, accountability calls you on everything, or ride or die, we love you no matter what.
Ride or die.
Hey, Ericka's ride or die.
Ride or die. Ready.
Why? Just curious.
I just I need that person to be there for me, like ready to go. Like, yep. Okay, if we're going to get in this mess, but we'll get out of it. You'll forgive me later. I'll forgive you later that I even asked you to get in that mess with me, but you're going to say yes anyways and just do it.
Okay, awesome. Kelly, what you got?
Well, I hate going after Ericka because I have the same answers. All right, I would say
It's okay.
ride or die.
It's only two. Okay,
I know.
ride or die.
I would say ride or die because I do well with positive reinforcement. So if I had someone there telling me I'm good and I can do it, that gets me motivated. So yeah,
Kelly,
ride or die.
I already thought of you for this one because previously you had talked about all of your cheerleaders, and I was like, oh, I know what Kelly's answer is going to be.
That's right. That was way back in the beginning. Good
Yeah,
memory.
Yeah.
There, Ericka. Okay, I'm choosing the same thing. I would now. My inside, I want to choose the accountability. Like there's the part of me that goes, I want to be the guy who can go, yes, tell me exactly where I need to fix, because I know that's best for me. But man, I feel like I do a whole lot of that in my head already. So if I had to only choose one or the other, obviously we want balance in our lives. But if I had to choose one or the other, it'd probably be hype. Okay. Last one. Would you rather have a mentor who tells you exactly what to do? Okay. You don't got to think at all. They're like, here's your best move. And they're right. It's not like they tell you and you're like, meh, meh. Okay. This is like, yes, bam, success every time. Or, wait a minute,
Yes,
Kelly.
yes. All right.
Kelly's already, she doesn't
Or,
all the other options. She's already picked her answer. That's it. You don't even have to tell us
finally
the
have
other
an
option.
answer.
okay. Well, the other one is that Kelly's not choosing is would you rather total freedom to figure it out yourself and to learn from the mess? Kelly, you can explain why you chose the other one while we're thinking.
Okay. Well, yes, I'd love for someone to tell me exactly what to do and it's going to be successful. Like, then I wouldn't have to waste so much energy using any bit of brain power I've left to try to figure something out. So yeah,
Yes,
I that's a
I hear
no-brainer
that.
one for me.
Yeah, I hear that.
I
Awesome.
mean, I feel like, again, this game is like you have to pick or, which is really hard.
It is. That's the fun of the game.
And, like, I could feel it in my gut. So that's like, that's the fun of the game, is what TQ is telling me. I'll go with the freedom
Mm.
to
Okay.
just have, be in that chaos, be in that mess, that like open ability for me. I kind of like see the freedom in that openness, right? Like I feel
Mm-hmm.
if I just have these two options, the other one is just so controlled. There's no stepping outside of the box, where if I step outside the box, but it's the wrong box, I just find another one, you know? That's what I
Mm-hmm.
see in that one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear that. I hear that. Okay. I would go. Man, I don't like being told what to do. And so I'd probably end up finding some reason to think that it was wrong and not do it anyway, and then mess it up and then have to jump back in and end up doing that. So probably some freedom. The other piece of it is in some of the hardest times in my life that when I've had to figure out something, I've learned, I've just shifted into a better form of me. You know what I'm saying? There's something that happened internally that I'm like, man, I kind of look back and I go, whoa, what happened to me? And it happened to be all that junk that I went through, which did not want to go through in the moment at all. But, being able to look back and go, okay,
Oh,
I learned a lot.
it's like what you
Now,
said at the beginning, from stuck to unstoppable.
well, there you go. There you go. Well, cool. Thank you for throwing that. Thank you for throwing that bone out there for me, Kelly. Erica, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right. All right. All right. We're going to get a little more vulnerable here, even though these were really good. And thank you for playing the game, ladies. I appreciate that very much. Okay. But this next question is a little more, I guess, a little more personal, a little more vulnerable. And it's what's something, what is something you're currently trying to stay motivated about that you haven't fully figured out yet, or that you just find difficult to stay locked in on? And I'll go first to give you guys some time. And I think that I'm ready for this one. So lately, it's been working out and exercising, which is something I love to do. But in this season of my life that has gotten pretty busy and really trying to figure out business and work and such, I've had a lot of late nights, and I typically work out in the morning, and I've just not been able to do it regularly. And it used to be I can get few hours of sleep, like limited amount of sleep, which is not good. People don't do what I'm doing here, but a few hours of sleep, and then I would get up and get after it. And lately, I've just not been able, motivated, whatever you want to put the word there. That has been something for me that I've been like, man, I got to figure this out. And I am in my older years now, and the less that you work out, the more your body tells you about it, And so I just, get that feeling of, oh, I got to figure this out. Something's got to go. Got to make some shift, but the motivation is not quite as there. So,
Well, for me, I would say, well, on the one side, a lighter side, I'm not motivated to give up my chocolate, which I keep trying to do because you all know I love my chocolate. And every day, every Monday, I'm like, this week I'm giving up all my chocolate, and it just doesn't happen. Uh, More of a professional note, I'm trying to really put together the second half of my year for my business with like the events that I want to do every month. And I'm just having a tough time getting motivated to do it all because it seems daunting. And when something
mm,
gets me overwhelmed, I start to lose motivation and have to really work at it to get it back. So, yeah, hard to
yeah,
kind of stay on track.
I hear that. That's real
Yeah.
Yeah.
for sure.
So for me, I would say something I haven't fully figured out yet is my schedule. I try to give myself a little bit of grace that this is a newer at ish, we'll say, in a life scale. Yet my schedule with my kids and when I have them and I don't have them. And I can see this in myself that when I have them, I want to be fully present with them. I want to do all of the things with them. And then when I don't have them, I try to cram everything else in this little period of time. And then I'm like, wait, I don't get it all in. And then it's just like this, still trying to figure it out. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I hear that. Are you trying to is it you having a hard time getting motivated to figure it out or just figuring it out? Which either one's okay. Just trying to make
Well,
clarify.
I think you had used the word difficult to stay
Mhm.
like locked in. And I think
Yeah.
what happens for me is that that kind of like made me think of that because I want to stay in those moments with my kids, right?
Right.
And then it's a whole transition to then not have them. And then I have all this stuff right over here, whatever it is, just life things, work. But then I still want to have like it's just it's kind of I guess like a just even a life balance, and that's why I
Yeah.
prefaced it at the beginning was just giving myself grace to recognize that even though this has now been a few years, it is still newer.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks for clarifying for me.
You're
Appreciate that.
welcome.
So you're listening. I hope that you can tell, like when we get on here as coaches, we're not talking like we got the world figured out or anything like that. But we are willing to kind of dive deep and try to walk with people in it, walk with each other in it. You know, like when we're not the spotlight isn't on us and we're not filming, we're doing that with each other as well. And so thanks for stepping into it, that moment with us. Everything that we just talked about, all that kind of lives inside, all of that lives inside today's question. And it's one that we think a lot of people are carrying around. You know, it's something that we kind of have and don't even have language for it sometimes. You just kind of find yourself kind of not really motivated and going, what do I do with that? How did I find myself here? I have this thing that I want to accomplish, but I've got this or I've got that, or I'm too tired, or I'm whatever is coming up. And so what I really want to do is jump to really kind of what's going on in in this scenario here and ask us to really discuss like what does it feel like when you are in that scenario where your old reasons, your old motivations for for getting up, doing something just isn't working anymore? What does that feel like, or what are the signs? What does that look like? How have you seen that maybe in a client, yourself, family, you name it?
Well, I can go first. Well, just anyone that's heard my story, this for personally, I really stayed in corporate for so long that it became my identity, my corporate job. And then eventually that identity kind of stopped working for me. I worked my way up and then I reached all my goals. And then I got to like the point where I'm like, right, I don't have any goals anymore. So now what? And, it's an empty space because you don't know what to do next, or you don't know what to do. I just keep doing what I was doing, even though it's not fulfilling anymore. Do I try to do something new? So, and I think it comes on gradually. Like, I think when the old reasons stop, they gradually stop. So I don't know that it's something that, all of a sudden, your reasons have changed for doing things. I think it happens slowly. So sometimes it's hard to identify what's happening,
Mm-hmm.
but eventually it's one of those things where you can just, I don't know, it's like there's a pit in your stomach, or things that used to motivate you don't anymore, or things you used to work on that gave you purpose just don't, and the
Mm-hmm.
future looks like maybe a little fuzzy. So everything just feels a little off. And so I feel like that's what happens when sometimes, the old reasons just don't align with who you're becoming. You're starting to grow into something new, and it's a transition. So it's hard.
Yeah.
I think about the that time where old reasons stop working for me. And again, with knowing what I have been through as, life blows up. Now what do I do? Right. So, and going through that and kind of looking and thinking about it, all of the things that used to be there are not. And when I say that, what I mean is I no longer had any safety. I no longer had any comfort. I no longer had any security. Those things were gone. So learning to live without those things is very difficult. And living each day through them, it's a process. There's acknowledgement, there's a trusting of the self, even if I don't know what tomorrow brings, or even if there was a time when I didn't know where I was going to live and I had to trust that I would be able to sleep somewhere in the night and wake up in the next day. And being able to live, like, I could just, like, that emotion is coming up in me because I can feel it in my gut. For so long, I was in that space. And it's like, right? If we look back, I used to have those things and then I didn't. And so it's that, like, to describe that feeling, I think is different for everyone. Yet we know when that change is there, right? I couldn't go back to living how I used to live. That wasn't working.
Mhm.
Did I recognize I was in a transition period? No, I don't think so. Not at first. Kind of the storm and the chaos and the whirlwind and just trying to find, like, it's like a grabbing a hold of one thing or anything. And even if it's just one tiny piece of safety, while learning how to do that again.
Yeah. So just if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying that since everything just kind of, your whole world shifted, then a lot of the motivation and the will to do certain things, it was all gone because there's so much that was supporting it. Like you said, the safety and so forth, that kind of went away. Yeah. Yeah. I hear that. I hear that. Yeah, it seems to me that, like you said, there's a lot of feelings and it varies differently between individuals. I know that some run into this feeling of guilt because, there's this thing that I've been doing and you probably had some really good reasons, whatever the reasons were, and then all of a sudden those reasons that were the thing that helped you go ahead and get out of bed, get in front of the computer, or go make the run, or whatever you're going to do. All of a sudden that's gone. But the value that you have, the reason that you had before is still a value for you. So you're like going, man, why can't I get going? Or maybe it's weariness that you feel, you're just going and going and going, and then just so tired. There's no way that I got to get up and do this again. But man, this reason that I'm doing it is so important, but I can barely open my eyes. And so there's a lot of feelings as we've talked about. Is this a warning sign that something's wrong, or is this just what people should expect? As we feel these things, are we going, something's really bad that's happening, or this is just normal life? We should expect to be going and be like, yeah, not motivated by that anymore. Guess I better figure it out and do something else. What would y'all say? Just curious.
I think we have to listen to ourselves. Sometimes those can be simple, small things. While I think, and not trying to speak for you, Kellie, but like, even if we just look at Kellie's story and my story, two very different stories, yet this involved our life, and each one of our lives are very important. And so if even you mentioned TQ, you mentioned two things so one, how, like, not feeling motivated. And I know you've spoke on that before, yet it sparked in me too, to thinking back how, like, making this connection, how when all of these things are taken away from us and we don't, like, know how to kind of, like, grasp onto one thing, it's kind of going to be there. And it makes sense. It might not feel like it in the moment, right? If all of these things are gone now, I used to
Okay.
hold on to this, that, and that, and
hmm
they're gone.
And the things are the motivations, right? That's what you're
Right,
talking about?
right, yes.
Okay.
It makes sense that if when I wake up, I'm like, oh, I'm already exhausted because I don't know what I'm going to hold on to. I don't know what I'm going towards. Am I even coming away from something? Right. There's this feels very unbalanced and unknown
hmm
place.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely.
Just
So
to
would you say
add to
that's
that,
Yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Yeah. No, you
No,
go,
you had a follow-up
please.
question. Go ahead.
No, you go. You go.
I was going to add to that and say I think it's data that we need to listen to. And, sometimes we don't get in tune with our own, hearing ourselves. We just, push through and tamp things down and we don't pay attention. But you really need to listen to some of the internal thoughts and your feelings and how does your body feel? Do you feel sick because you know you have to go do something you don't want to do anymore? And really be in tune with some of this stuff because I think sometimes we don't even listen to ourselves and we're multitasking when you should single task and really listen to yourself. And I think too our brain is meant to keep us comfortable and, efficient. And so we get comfortable and then we don't think about things truly. We just get comfortable and do the same old thing. So I think anytime there's
Mm.
any feeling that might be off, you just have to listen to it and use it as data.
Yeah. Okay.
That's beautiful.
So it might necessarily be a wrong or right thing or a normal thing, but what I'm hearing you say is that, man, when these things come up, take notice and figure out what does it mean. It doesn't necessarily mean everything's wrong. Like wrongs, that's can be kind of a trigger word for folks, right? Like, oh, what do you mean my life's wrong? Not your life's wrong, but you need to listen to it and figure out what it's telling you, right? You need to dive deep into it. And so, okay, well, let's move on a little bit because there are a few conversations about kind of why these things come up and so forth. And I'm going to throw a few of these things out and you can tell me kind of what resonates with you, okay? And
Is
what
this
you
going to be
think
like
like,
the
oh, that
game
makes
again?
sense.
This isn't
No,
gonna
no, no games.
Okay, good.
No, this is not a choose. You have to choose one. I'm just throwing a few of these out, and if one like really jumps out to you, like, oh, that makes sense, or you're like, I don't like any of these. I want to do that. That's cool too. Okay. So there's a few conversation kind of things out there about when you find yourself unmotivated. And one is this idea that reasons or motivations have a shelf life. Like there's only so long that they last, especially when you talk about external ones, but you could probably throw internal motivations in there too. Like if somebody's going to go, that person said I couldn't do this. Well, I'm going to show them. And then they go after it. That's a motivation. You see what I'm saying? It's an external one. And I guess if you show the other person you could do it, then that has a shelf life. That motivation comes down. Okay. So that's one idea. The other idea is the idea that you've grown, but your reasons for doing what you're doing have not grown with you. So you've changed values, you've changed beliefs, something in you, you changed scenarios, situations in your life. And what hasn't caught up is, man, I had these reasons to do this, but now because life is different or I'm believing differently or I'm thinking differently, then my motivations are not the same and it's not doing what it used to do. Okay. So the third thing is this idea that there's a difference between a dead reason and a dead goal. So your motivation behind what you're going to do, that can be gone, but the goal can still be good. And you need to find another motivation, right? Or it could be you're not motivated because that thing you were shooting for, you don't need to do that anyway, if that makes sense. So there's but there is a difference between the two. And some of us are dealing with that. I'm really kind of looking at what's happening inside of people. And these are 3 conversations that are thrown out there and you may have something else, but any of that resonate with any of you? And I can repeat them if you need, but
Were you gonna go ahead, Kelly?
yeah. Kelly, we
Sure.
gonna go?
Well, I was just looking at kind of the reason and the goal. I think sometimes, your reasons might change, as you age or as just a different circumstance. But if you know the why behind your goal, like why did you make this goal in the first place? The way you get there and the reason might be totally different, but the goal is still right on as long as you're confident in why you made that goal in the first place. But if you aren't certain about why you made that goal or it just no longer feels like if it's right anymore for your life,
Mm-hmm.
then it's fine to change goals too. I think people sometimes set a goal and then they think, well, I have to get it or I failed. Well, goals change too. So I think they kind of go, if your reasons change and your goals change, then that's fine. But if your goal is still there and your reason for reaching it changed, it still can be a really good goal as long as, in your heart, you know why you set that goal. Did any of that make sense
Mm-hmm.
at all?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I
It makes me think about the person who's going, okay, my motivation's changed or my goal has changed, but you say that, but I feel bad that it's changed.
Yeah.
Right? Like my mom really loved this for me. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How would you approach that individual, where they're going, whether it's the goal or the motivation, I feel like I should be,
Yeah.
that's where they are. I feel like I should be doing this thing. I should be
Yeah.
motivated or I should be going after that goal, but it's not there anymore. How do I deal with that?
And that ties into your first question about the external motivators. If somebody else is kind of setting the goal for you, like your example, if your mom said you should do this, then it's not really coming from you and your why is not true. If you know, so if it's coming from an outside source, a goal that you should do, that word just gets me sometimes, the word should. It's whatever your goal is, what you want to do. And if the goal changes, you didn't fail, it's not wrong. You just change directions. And I think some people just they keep going to hit a goal whether it's really true anymore or not, just so they feel like just for fear of failure, basically. But it's okay to
Yeah.
change goals as your reasons change.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for that.
I'm gonna go brief on these for you,
That's cool.
TQ.
Go for it.
Reasons and seasons,
Okay.
right? So just kind of think as you were talking about that one, I had a reason for potty training my dog. Had a goal, a thing in mind, right? There was a need. All of these things needed to be met. I don't just keep potty training him once he's learned,
True. That would be weird.
right?
Yep.
So that reason has ended.
Mm-hmm.
That season has ended. And can I just say we could probably do a whole episode on you've grown and your reasons haven't caught up?
Probably should. Yep. No doubt. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I just jotted myself down a note and I said yes. Simple yes for that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the other one, you said dead goal. Was it
Yeah.
dead?
I said the difference between there's a difference between a
Okay.
dead reason and a dead goal.
My first thing that I wanted to say was why. Like ask yourself, why did that happen? Maybe you envisioned it. It's not the right direction. Felt, there's a lot of things. I've done that. Right. We set a goal. Or maybe it's not in the right direction. For some reason, it doesn't work out. Now, if it's something I really want to go towards, I can keep going towards it. While if it just kind of naturally goes away, I'm not going to just keep harping on myself because I didn't get there. I can recognize, acknowledge, oh, okay, that wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I hear that. A lot of what I hear us saying is that there are movements in our lives. And if there are movements in our lives, and we would all expect there to be movements. None of us stays the same. You do your schooling or whatever, you get a job, you get married or you don't, you move from one city to another. Relationships change, I don't know, you have kids, they grow up, stuff happens, right? So there's movement in our lives. But I think sometimes our motivations, we think they should remain because they're so close to our hearts. Like if I'm getting motivated to do some financial goal for my family's sake, my family's really important, right? But let's say I'm looking at this goal, and for whatever reason, that goal is out of reach, or it was too small, or my family situation changes. It's not that all of a sudden my family's not important. It's just the scenarios have changed, if that makes sense. And so let's say my kids all move out, and I was doing stuff for them. Well, they're not in the same place that they were. And so the value or the energy that I was putting into that, it's not doing in me internally what it used to. And so if I'm going to continue to go after, like I said, that financial goal, let's say, then I either need to find some other reason to put in the work to do that, or just let it go. And I think we struggle with either one of those things. The motivation having shifted because, man, that was close to my heart. But now, I don't know, my family, they're taking care of themselves. And they don't need me to do that anymore. And then when I get into am I needed, right? Do they need me? What do I do now, right? And so now my motivation is different. Or the financial goals, they've met it. They know they're taking care of themselves. And so now it's like, well, this is just kind of extra. And so the motivation changes. And I think we need to understand that as our lives change and our motivations change, that's okay. We just need to be able to look at it and go, okay, now that things have changed, what is my next step? Not necessarily hold on to something that's slipping out of my hands, that I probably don't need to hold on to anyway, but to go, okay, is there something else within me that gets me going? All right, I'm going to shift. I know that's a hard shift, but I'm looking at our time and I don't know what our listeners have to do next. And so I'm going to shoot to ask us this question. Do we have some practical things that we would give somebody who is in the heat of the battle of dealing with, my motivations aren't there? I've got these goals. Let's say the goal is still a great goal and my motivations aren't there. I need to get up. I need to go ahead and do the thing. I need to stop putting it off, but I just can't find a way to get that done. I can't make myself do it. What would be some things that we might tell them?
That's good. I think, I think a lot of this comes back to what you value. And if your values are aligned to your goals, then that helps the motivation. So maybe it's something like picking your top 5 values, and maybe it's identifying a time in your life when they were all in unison and working. And then maybe think about a time in your life when they weren't. And what's one maybe small shift you can make to get you motivated to the point where the goals that you're shooting for are aligned with your values, and just trying to be, I think, honest with what you want to do. Motivation's hard. It's got to come from inside. There's got to be like a light at the end of the tunnel, something you're going for to keep you moving. And also along with values, there's habits too, making sure that you create habits that are working you towards your goal. And I think the more you can do things and kind of scratch them off or say you've done this or accomplished something, then the more motivated you get. So oftentimes it's just really small moves, making sure you're in alignment with your values, making sure that you're doing things in small steps so that you're making progress. And I think progress makes you feel motivated, because if you never take the step forward, then you get stuck. But if you start seeing things are getting checked off your list, I don't know about you, but for me, if I can check something off, that just motivates the heck out of me and I just want to keep going. So just a few like different areas there that I think people should pay attention to.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for that.
Mhm.
Thinking of the person, and you kind of mentioned this earlier, that wakes up and they're already tired. And that could be for a number of reasons. And that person, I want them to know I've been there, so they are not alone in that. And one step is still a step. Even if all I did for that day was make myself a cup of tea, I still made myself a cup of tea, and tomorrow is coming. Even
Yeah.
if I have to wear that heaviness, even if I don't know what tomorrow brings, maybe the next day I'll step outside.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. What I'm hearing you say is that if you're having trouble being motivated, a small step is still worth celebrating.
Yes.
It's still worth realizing that is forward movement.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. Thanks for that. And I felt that too, by the way. Thanks for that. One of the things that I've read says, especially when you're considering motivation, there's a lot of why am I doing this? What's my motivation? And the idea was to change the question from instead of why am I doing this to who am I becoming through this, And I'll speak for me. That's a important one for me, because I'm like, I just want to be better, better dad, better husband, better neighbor, better. Not like something is bad, but just grow is what I'm trying to say, and if I can look at something even that's difficult and go, man, there's growth in this for me, then that may help my motivation some. Help me go, okay, man, what used to motivate may not be what's motivating me now, but I know that if I get up and do this, I'm going to be stronger for it. That is sometimes helpful for me. Cool. As you're listening out there, and you're going, man, I am in it with my motivations right now. It's tough. Or someone, you see them and they're like, man, you really would love for them to kind of get up and get going, but they're having a hard time. I think there's a few things for us to take note of, and that is having a lack of motivation is normal. Like that happens to people all the time. And so it's not the end of the world. It is something to look at. And so as these ladies said earlier, it's a sign. There's data. There's stuff that you need to take note of. So go ahead and lean in and take note of it. If someone else is struggling and they're not able to do that well, sit with them a bit and just talk about it with them. Help them understand that they're okay and maybe help figure that out with them. Because who knows, they may not even have the motivation to even think about what's going wrong, And so help them with that. There's so much we could talk about on this, and who knows, maybe in another Beyond the Questions, we'll dive kind of deeper into some of the pieces of this. But thanks for listening. I want you to know that wherever you are in it, I'll speak for myself here. I believe you can get through. Like, I don't believe it's the end. There's more. And so, and you still may be going, Twan, you don't know who I am. You don't know what I'm dealing with. That's true. I don't, but I've got this inherent belief that we as humans have incredible capacity. And if you're listening to this, I'm assuming you're human too. And so I believe that you have incredible capacity for things.
TQ, can I just add one thing before you close? You mentioned growth a moment ago, and it reminded me just of a quote that I had to read a lot. Her name is Jennifer Wallace. She does nervous system work, and she said, growth comes not from deleting the path, but from creating new predictions.
There you go. Awesome. Very cool. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So as you start to create new predictions, I want to let you know if you need help with that, we would love to walk with you. If you recall, Ericka, she helps women who've gone through trauma or in the middle of it and coming out of it and finding a new way of living and moving. Kellie works with women who are in a transition of sorts where what they had going on in the past is no longer working and they're trying to find their new way, trying to make that pivot. She can help you do that. If you're really trying to figure out how to get that dream or idea off the ground and you just been grinding, going nowhere, I'd love to help you with that. And we thank you for listening to Beyond the Questions. We will be coming back for some more stuff. We continue to do that. And so especially I want you to know that our upcoming podcast is What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do. I'm excited about that one, so we hope to see you there. You can take a look at any of our stuff in the details. We have all of our contact information. All right. Thank you for listening. Y'all take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beyond the Questions. Be sure to subscribe so that you can stay up to date concerning future episodes. And if you would like to connect with any of the hosts on Beyond the Questions, their contact info is linked in the description below. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you on the next episode of Beyond the Questions.